Yeah, they usually.
Wherever you're most. Yeah.
Need more seats.
Spin balls. I mean, there's a large amount of that. Just you do have one in the water that's nice.
Okay, I think Anton's coming in a few, but we only have one computer here, so I'll just deal. I got this.
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's get this meeting started. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you very much for coming to our city council meeting for August. Due to scheduling conflicts, we had to meet the second meeting of the month instead of our earlier meeting. So with that, I ask that we stand for pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So at this point, we will move to approval of the agenda. I would like to suggest that under the discussion action items, we move number 4 to number 1. The short-term rental license lottery for applicants. Anyone have any objections to that? I will make a motion for second. First. And second, all in favor? All right. So we will move on to approval of the minutes. So we have a series of minutes in our packet, starting with, I'll just do this one at a time. Ask for changes. If any, no changes, we'll move on to the next one and we'll approve it all at once. So starting with our first set of minutes from May 10th. Any substantive changes to the minutes from May 10th? Any public comment regarding the minutes from May 10th? For okay, seeing none, moving on to May 24th, our second meeting of May. Any substantive change? Council. From the general public. Okay. Moving on to June 14th, changes from the council for those minutes.
No.
From the public. Okay. And finally, June 20, no, sorry, not finally, and June 28th, any changes to the council? From the public. July 12th, minutes from July 12th.
That one's not included.
Not included. July 19th. July 19th is
Pardon?
Yeah, the
July
next one.
19th.
July 19th.
Move to accept all minutes. I second that.
First and second, all those in favor? Very much. At this point, we'll move on to council reports, committee assignments. Mr. Tuttle.
I have none at this time. A couple, I have just a quick case talk. They we will have one-on-one corridor is getting closer. We are actually bidding this year, will be bidding this year, and the overpass 299 will begin next summer. So it looks like it's at least looking like it's going to get there. They've got everything in order. The HTA, Humboldt Transit Authority, is going to have some, either 7 or 11 hydrogen buses. I thought it was 11. And they're going to have a fueling station for hydrogen built reasonably soon. We don't have a date on that. But it'll be at, we'll have a housing and transit hub on your acre. So that's another nice change. And they're going to be doing some beautification for do some cleanup and have some adopted highways. They're trying to clean up. They're going to start with very summit and then your acre. So that's a move that's taking place there. The other report is on the Trails Advisory Committee that met on that recently. That's great. And we discussed well, actually, for a lot of discussions, kind of clear up what we are actually going to be able to work on. So we're working on specifically trying to get trails that are within the city that are we can begin to get posts and some other projects. I don't know if you had a chance to walk up to the head of the city. Kyle got out and made clean up some of the steps, so it looks a lot nicer. And we will be working on the steps. About halfway up, the steps get very difficult to work to step up. So we're going to get this work on getting those fixed pretty soon. So we'll see some changes in that. And we also have 2 posts that are put up that are new, and that's on Parker Creek one that's falling down, and on the end of the trail. So a couple of posts in there. We're going to continue working on that, trying to make some progress. So we will be working on. Also, we're looking at the possibility of adding benches to the Trails Committee, so we can start some benches soon. So some changes taking place, some things we're improving. Those are the 2.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Jack?
Is it the other school that kind of had these now?
No, I don't see that. I mean, Kyle did the lower steps. I don't know about anybody else working. No. No idea. I'll look for that. Thank you.
So I attended Humboldt Transit Authority, but we mentioned it because they work closely with the county and a lot of their efforts. Whole transit center and housing up to Eureka, so that's exciting, as well as they're ahead of schedule to be fully electric and or hydrogen carbon ahead of the state mandate of, I believe it's 2030. I can't remember my date. And then Redwood Region Economic Development. We established our goals moving forward for the next couple of years. Among them was, to invest in the community in food, and we heard from the North Coast Road. And just sort of keep your ears open for some exciting changes with local food and ensuring that a lot of large consumers of local food, university, school, and whatnot, increase the percentage of food produced in the area. So some pretty exciting stuff. Look for that. And that's all I have for my report. At this point, we'll move on to staff reports. Eli.
Yeah, I didn't prepare one for this meeting, but I will combine it into our next meeting in a couple of weeks in September. And as far as the law enforcement, they're not present at this time. We'll see if we can have them present for the meeting in September.
At this point, we'll move on to items from the floor. At this time, members of the public may comment on items not appearing on the agenda. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes or less. Comments should be directed to the council as a whole and not to members or staff. Council and staff responses will be. At this point, we have any items from the floor. Please, and if you don't mind coming up to the microphone, helps with the recording.
Jim Belak, I own the composite former South Grand Vanway. In terms of the progress on the asphalting on Glinda, it looks great, but I'd like the council to remind staff of getting timely notices out to the homeowners, because getting the notice out after midnight last night caused several problems in terms of plants that were destroyed. And I was lucky that I thought about putting the portion in the garage, otherwise that would have been a major disaster. So just remind the staff that notices of things like that need to be getting out well ahead of time.
Other items from the floor.
Mike Morgan, former councilman and owner of Trinidad Bay Bed and Breakfast Hotel. Submitted a letter for the council, all has a copy, and I think Gabe got it in the public comment section. So apologize, can't get you guys all a copy, but I'll just read one of the paragraphs. I thought it was important to take a moment, now that we're all coming through 2 years of this COVID epidemic, kind of say, well, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What do we do better? And I think that's a fair question to ask candidates and even our elected representatives and their appointments. So I'd like to maybe see a future account from the council, maybe on an agenda item, and say, you know, here's what we did, here's what we'd like to do better. That's mostly what I want to focus on. But there is a point that I would like to make tonight. And it's the paragraph on the second page. We are finally getting through years of COVID-19 city mistakes in the city of Trinidad. We've caught up with other states by removing restrictions, removing mask and vax mandates, and rejecting vaccine passports to participate in our communities. Trinidad City Council is finally holding public meetings, thank you, in town again. It has discussed its abusive and wasteful city, it has dismissed its abusive and wasteful city lawsuits against me and my business. Still, one councilman contemptuously voted against dismissal. We should be lifting up our struggling businesses, not locking them down, suing them, and raising taxes on their guests. Voting to continue to trial, to continue wasting tens of thousands of dollars on attorneys and litigation is fiscally irresponsible. So why did he vote against dismissal? He won't say. I encourage individual thought and reasoning, but I do not condone this pettiness or the cowardice of hiding behind closed session, city council meetings, and city lawyers. Truth, for, I think, other city council votes and a check from me has stopped this waste of our tax dollars.
Other items from the floor. Seeing none at this time, we'll move on to our consent agenda. All matters on the consent agenda are considered routine by the city council and enacted in one motion. There's no separate discussion on any of these items. If discussion is requested by any council, that item is removed from the consent calendar. Considered separately. Single opportunity for public comment on the consent agenda is available. At this point, do we have any council who wish to? Do we have any comment on the bill, please take a look. Could you make sure you're talking?
Is the tie-in with the West Haven Community Service District on the consent agenda?
No.
No.
No, it's not.
Okay. That's what I want to comment.
Thank you very much. That'll be a discussion item for the future. Any other public comment?
I'll move that we accept the consent.
No, second that.
First and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes unanimously. We are now, let's see, make sure I have it. We are now on the discussion action agenda item. And again, we decided to move number 4, conduct short-term non-license applicants in the wait list through October 2021. Eli, anything you want to preface this with?
Okay. So we do have Jennifer here, and we also have Trevor on the Zoom, and then Gabe is here, and I'm here. So the 4 of us have been involved in working, putting this together. And so we've set up a lottery based upon the process that was in the STR ordinance. And in that process, it calls for a wait list and then the lottery to fill the vacancies. And there's currently 2 vacancies that are in the urban residential zone. And then we have the wait list. There are 6 names on there, and we will be drawing from those, and our mayor will be spinning that. So I'll go accompany him, and we will put in the numbers and then spin and call out those numbers in the order. What we're doing is the first 2 will be given the opportunity to start an STR. They have to go through the process. If they do not finish it in time or for some reason, are unable to, then it goes to some of the backup numbers. So we'll pull all the numbers and put them in order so that this way we can resort to those other numbers if need be. So I'll accompany the mayor right now.
You said there were 6 names.
Yeah.
Of those 6 names, how long have you been on that?
I'm not sure. Dave might know. We never had a lottery before. Yeah.
Since the ordinance was adopted,
Right.
so shortly after the ordinance was adopted is when
Yeah.
the first name or 2 went on the list.
So we have names associated with each of the numbers 1 through 7. Applicant number 5 pulled their. That's first one is number 6. Associated with Jason Gabriel.
Oh, man.
Number 2. Yeah. Number 4 with Kim Elliott. And we're going to do all 6 just in case. So we have our drawing. Number 7, associated with Larissa. Number 1, Kathy and Randy Patterson. And number 3 associated. So that is our lottery. Proceeding forward, what's the timeline? You said you wanted to start.
Yeah, well, actually, Jennifer will be contacting people that We've got a 45-day timeline, 90 days. It's spelled out. So basically, exactly. What else? Yeah, so you'll be contacted. Anything that you'd like to add, Trevor, to the process?
Unfortunately, I couldn't hear that, but I'm sure Eli took care of it. Jennifer will write a good letter. So yeah, we'll just have to, I think they have 45 days to submit an application and 90 days to receive their license. So good luck. And I don't think neither of the first two have to go, get planning and commission approval for any exceptions. So they should be good to go, hopefully.
Thank you very much. And yeah, thank you for that process. And yes, please go forward.
Thank you, Council. And just for the record, I'm fortunate to be drawn in the lottery. However, I really do not approve of this process. I think I had made that statement a couple of times during the Planning Commission meetings. There's very few properties that come available that are allowed to be these short-term rentals. I really believe in our community, and I really do support families in our community and our school systems. But looking at a lot of things lead us to doing short-term rental for our family needs. That being said, some folks I know that have been on the wait list for over 5 years. And I just think it's unfortunate that those people who have been on the wait list for a long time aren't chosen and given the opportunity first. I think they should be given the opportunity if there's something that comes available, that they are given the opportunity and 30 days to decide if they want to do it or not, and then move on to the next person who's been on there longer. I know the reason that the city has chosen to do a lottery similar to what Oregon does, but we're a very small, different community. And I just would think that that we could do it, something I think that works for the city of Trinidad. Thank you for my comments.
All right, moving on to item number now 1, discussion decision regarding terms of drinking water system emergency intertie agreement, memorandum of understanding between the city of Trinidad and West Haven Community Services District. Eli, let's talk.
Yes. So this item regards a $2 million grant that we were able to receive, and that grant is to do an intertie, which is called an emergency intertie, with our neighboring West Haven Community Services District. We've been talking with them for the last, I don't know how many months, but it's been at least maybe 4 months, maybe longer. And of course, we had made the application to the State Department of Water Resources. At our prior meeting, we approved a agreement, which would be an interim agreement. And then it went to the board for West Haven Community Services District, and they tweaked it. And so what's included in our packet today is a modified version of the prior agreement that we have. So this is an interim memorandum of agreement. And the only change is that if there is an additional cost to construction, so the city of Trinidad's water system and the West Haven water system will share in all of the costs for the consultants, the engineers, and so on. But if construction goes beyond the available funds that we've received from the state, then it would be divvied up between the two water systems, depending on the number of connections we have. Currently, that would be like a 59% to a 41% division. The prior agreement would have been an exact 50-50. So it's up to the council if in the community, if we wish to accept that change. It seems like a fair request, but on the other hand, we have been dealing with a 50-50 split for ever since we started talking about this. So I'll entertain any comments, questions anyone might have.
Yeah, seems to me a reasonable agreement, since we do have a little bit more of the number of people. I think it actually works out pretty well, so I have no problem with the way it's written.
I agree, based on the amount of revenue we get from our 60-40 split, that seems to make sense. If the cost goes over, there's a good chance the cost won't go over $2 million. That does seem to play into what the emergency intertie is trying to do. Any other thoughts? All right, let's open it up to public comment. Paul, I know that you wish to speak, so again, thank you for speaking into the microphone so that everybody can hear.
You're welcome. Regarding the tie-in with West Haven Community Service District, 40 years is too long for this agreement. There's a fair chance the city will tie into Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District within the next number of years, depending on the weather and the above-mentioned permit process. The permit process refers to what I'm going to read when agenda item number 4 comes up. Okay, depending upon permit process, it will be costly. How does this possibility affect the proposed contract between the city and West Haven Community Service District? I suggest you consult the city lawyer.
I'm sorry, can you restate the question? I'm not sure I was clear. How long the agreement lasts?
Yeah, in the agreement, it's supposed to last for 40 years. And I'm questioning, since there is some possibility, depending upon the weather, that we will eventually have to tie into Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District. And how will that affect the contract? If we put in a whole bunch of money to connect to Humboldt Bay Municipal Water District, we still have this tie-in. Okay, so I suggested you consult with a lawyer about that.
Other comments from the general public?
Mike Morgan. So I have an admonishment, a question, and a comment. The admonishment is to be careful about offering council comments before you hear from the public. Really, you should be soliciting from the public, then making a decision in the future, in my opinion, Robert's Rules of Order. The question I have is, okay, who's the 60-40 split sounds crazy to me, but I don't understand how much money we're talking about and who's responsible for what. So we're responsible for 60%. Who's the 40% paying?
West Haven Community Service.
And why are they trying to get 10% more now if we've been doing 50-50 before?
Well,
What's their reasoning?
yeah, the reasoning of their board is the fact that we have approximately 320 some connections, and they have approximately 220 meter connections. So
since we have more, we should pay more? Since we have more, we should pay more, is their reasoning?
Yeah, only if there is the cost of construction goes
What's the
over.
likelihood the cost of construction is going to be greater than what they've estimated, given the past projects,
Mhm.
given any project? So how much could we be online for is what I'm wondering.
Well,
we have
whatever it
estimates?
takes to finish the project,
What's the overall estimate of the project?
that I don't have, because this is again an interim agreement,
All right,
because we haven't gotten to that. The next agreement will be the one that will have all the costs in it.
so I think I made my point. Before we know the actual numbers and the
Right.
scope of this thing,
Yeah.
and you guys just give away 10%, it'd be good for us to know what that 10% could be.
Yeah.
In a good
Yeah.
situation and what would be possibly be in a bad situation.
Yeah,
Right now, we don't know.
Engineer's estimate was that it would be well below the 2 million. That's why we went ahead and
There you
got
go.
the grant for 2 million.
I think I made my point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a question, where will the intertie be at?
Really, it ties our treatment plant with the West Haven Community Services. So
Oh,
that way the distribution is not, we would pump water in their plant.
okay, okay,
In the case of the.
yeah, right, or fire or drought or something, okay. Thank you.
Anyone from our Zoom land? Yeah, call it on.
I think emergency needs to be clearly defined.
Does this mean that West Haven could give us Trinidad water if we ran low and lose it?
So just to be clear, this is not a drought response effort. This is if emergency in this agreement refers to fire, refers to catastrophic event, shutting down the water plant, like a tree falling on the pole or something like that. So this is not a drought response. That is not an emergency in this. And it's not meant to be long term. It's meant to get through the period while the plant's being repaired. And it does offer an additional, I think it ended up being 7 additional fire. Because that could increase the fire protection capability of. Any other public comment regarding this intertech agreement? Seeing none, bringing it back to the council for consideration.
Yeah, the engineers are working on that. The construction, yeah, I mean, just the designing and everything. The firm is Pace Engineering out of Reading, and they're working on putting that together. So it should be coming up soon. At the same time, GHD is working with them. So I would think we would be able to have something back. Let's see, this is, yeah, hopefully by the end, before the end of the year. Yeah, the reason for the interim is that there's costs that are associated now for the engineers to be working on it. So as a result, this interim agreement helps start paying for those costs in the meantime, so that neither us nor West Haven would be paying out of our own pocket, but we'd be drawing from the grant. So that's why. Yeah, it's and that's why it's interim, right? And our attorney was involved with design, putting this together.
Well, then, without further comment or questions, looking for a motion.
Um,
I'll second that. All those in favor? Thank you for that discussion. As they come in. Moving on then, item number 2, discussion decision regarding appointment of council member to the Tri management team. Like, can you give us a brief background?
Yeah, so the Tri management team has met for a number of years. We've had 2 council members assigned to it. And recently, the city attorney, after input from the community, decided that we need to have those meetings held publicly. And so if they are concerning something that's culturally sensitive, then staff can meet and represent the city. But if it is something that's dealing with other issues such as the trails, signage, and so on, then it would be open to the public. There is a meeting that's scheduled for this coming Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Of the Tri management team. So we were hoping to get another representative on board. Currently, Jack is our representative. Dave Grover was the second representative, but he has left the council.
How often will you be in general?
Yeah, in general, I would say they're approximately quarterly.
Will this one on Friday?
It'll be Zoom. Yeah, we've been having them Zoom because we haven't been able to get everybody together.
I had that time. Yeah.
I'm happy to join on Friday. By Zoom, so council representative, try it. So, so few, I'm sure how this works. We needed a motion to appoint the.
I'll second.
All those in favor? What happens when there's 3? All right, moving on to item number 3, discussion decision regarding appointment of 2 council members to mediation between the city and the Trinidad Society. Yes, if I can give us a brief background on this.
Okay, so we have one remaining lawsuit between the city of Trinidad and the Trinidad Ancestral Society. We had 2 council members that were appointed to the mediation by the council, Richard Pompous and Dave Grover. And since then, both of them have resigned from the council, so created a vacancy. The next scheduled mediation is currently set for September 19th and 20th. And our city attorney has asked for 2 council members to be appointed by the council to serve on the mediation team for the city. I'm also present at those meetings.
In our next council meeting, if I'm not mistaken, before this scheduled mediation, I'm just thinking about Cheryl. Cheryl, we should wait for Cheryl. See if she's available. Yeah, our September meeting will be before. Is that enough time for the mediation group?
Yes, that would be enough time.
I suggest if Cheryl.
generally speaking, they'll start like in the morning, probably like around 9 o'clock. And usually they're done by noon. We do allow that it could go all day, but so far, the ones that we've had, they went half a day each.
And they also by Zoom.
By Zoom. Right.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the calendar, and our next meeting is on the 13th of September. So that would be good.
Thank you for that. Number, let's see. General election update. General election update.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it. I'm happy to put my glasses on. I'm happy to, I guess you can say that it's an announcement. We're almost on the we're in the home stretch here, and we've made it past all of the major benchmarks in the preparation of this, for this November's election. And in the packet, I have a checklist, and I actually put check marks by each of the benchmarks that we've been discussing since, I guess it was April, May. And we've got 2 elections. I'll just kind of summarize real quick what we're dealing with. We're dealing with looking for 3 council members to fill 4-year terms. And we received 4 nomination packets for those 3 positions. We've got 2 of our appointed incumbents, Jack Tuttle and Cheryl Kelly. And we have Katie Breckenridge, who's a new resident in Trinidad, and Michael Morgan, who's we all know is a business owner in town. And because there's no wards or districts in Trinidad, I want to make it clear that the top 3 vote receivers win the seats. You know, so that's pretty much how it is. And the documents for each of the candidates have been submitted to the elections office in Eureka, and they will be doing the preparation of the voter information pamphlet. So anyone submitted a candidate statement, it'll be included in that voter information pamphlet. And you'll see 4 names on the ballot in November for 3 seats, and every registered voter in Trinidad will be asked to pick 3. And then as far as the Measure P is what we're calling it, it's the occupancy tax increase ballot measure. Quite a few benchmarks have been completed. We had everything from our resolution to submit the occupancy tax measure to the electorate. We've had the ordinance passed. The second reading is essentially when the voters approve or disapprove of it. We've had our first reading. The city attorney impartial analysis has been submitted. We've also received an argument for, the argument against, a rebuttal to the argument for, and a rebuttal to the argument against the measure. So that being said, we've passed all of our benchmarks. All these documents are being forwarded to the elections office as we speak. And now we just, staff is working on proofs of the ballot, proofs of all the documents submitted. There'll be a back and forth between us and the elections office for the next month or 2 as they're finalizing the ballot documents. But all of our major benchmarks have been achieved, happy to say. That's it.
Yeah, that's a heavy lift from April from that. Get all these. It's nice to see it all in one place. Thanks for putting all these check marks. It's no small task to get anything on. That concludes. Okay.
Mike Morgan, candidate for city council. I just wanted to say Gabe did an excellent job, as he always does, but he really had to go above and beyond with me. I'm not sure how did we have another candidate here that may want to introduce herself. That's the first time I've met her. She's wonderful. I had the fortunate opportunity to meet Jack and talk to Sharon. It's great. I'm looking forward to this. But Gabe went above and beyond. All of my candidacy papers that we did the day before vanished. So we had to go back and redo everything on Friday. We found them. So there was no controversy, no conspiracy. But he really went above and beyond, and I appreciate his professionalism and our renewed friendship.
Yeah, anyone else want to comment on our election process? Want to stump speak right for us? Shaking babies or no?
Kissing hands.
That's
funny.
To spell my name, it's Katie, Kati. Breckenridge, Breckenridge. I think Breckenridge, Colorado. I wish. Hi, yes, I did put my name in, and I am new to Trinidad and in love with the town. It didn't take long, of course. And I want to thank Gabe as well. He was great. He got me through what could be an onerous process very quickly. So I look forward to the November election.
And I see Mr. Hickman has his hand up first.
Yeah, can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, yes?
Yes, we can. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, I just wanted to say also nice job to Gabe. I know it was a tough process, and I'm excited and energized by the amount of interest, and I'm particularly excited to see newer residents of town getting interested and getting active early as well. I know I was new to the Planning Commission and new to town at the same time, and I think that can be a huge benefit. So just grateful to see all the interest and see new folks have an interest as well. Thanks.
Mr. Hickman. All right. At this point, we'll ask for future agenda items. I know we have our addition to the mediation team, but other agenda items. Short-term rental license lottery. That's the number one. We did that earlier. We did the consent agenda first. We've already voted on it. I'm sorry. We got a discussion about the consent agenda. Future agenda items. I'm sorry. All of them. Yes, sir. Do you mind just speaking into the microphone? Yeah. This is
I'm
our
not
exercise.
yourself or whether you want it from the. Anyway, so going back several weeks now, I noticed an uptick on traffic coming down Galindo, especially extremely large SUVs and trailer, camper trailers, things like this. The issue, and I noticed this like 3 weeks ago. I went out to get the Sunday morning paper. I was driving back, and there was a pickup truck, an F-250, right in front of me, and it jogged like it was going down Galindo and slammed on its brakes right in front of me, and then curved back to continue on Edwards. The signage down there, when you're sitting on Edwards, you can't tell where Edwards is going. What you see is the indication that Galindo is sitting there, and you see the road that goes up to the marine lab. Okay, I stood there for at least 5 minutes looking for a signage saying, where does Edwards go? There is a sign, an arrow. It's behind a tree, and it's old and dirty, and it took me 5 minutes to find it. Nonetheless, so being that all the big dig is done, the repaving of the street is done, we need to revisit signage so that people who are going to State Beach, they're not diverting down Galindo, and they sit there at the T. And honestly, they sit there at the T for like 5 minutes trying to figure out which way to go. Some turn left, try to go up the hill, they have to turn around, come down. Others go down the Van Wyck back towards Edwards, which is more an alley than it is a street. And can you imagine some of those big tractor trailers going down there? Nonetheless, I'd like to see the signage on Edwards that truly indicates where Edwards is going rather than these other routes.
I encourage, and it's great to hear about the signage
Well, it's not just the sign. It's literally the view. I don't know whether it's the way Glinda comes up the street that you just don't see Edwards.
Our next council meeting, we will review the circulation element.
There you go.
We dive into that circulation. Seriously.
Nonetheless, this is an issue. And for the example I was telling you, if I wasn't, aware, him slamming on his brakes, I could have seriously done damage to the Porsche. That's not good.
Point of order, Mr. Councilman. Consent agenda on the agenda papers that were sent out late are always after the other business that you usually take care of.
Sorry, all there. The format of our. I really do feel, feeling empathy for being like this.
Are you serious? Gabe, can you weigh in on that?
Always,
The discussion, this was first on the papers you
I
sent
have
out?
it as being the consent agenda was approved after items from the floor, and that's how this agenda is structured.
After items from the floor.
Yeah, at the roughly the beginning of the agenda. So here was our items from the floor, and then here's the consent. Council members West and Tuttle.
But there was, I was here after this, and there was no discussion on the number 4 consent agenda.
So you asked when you were
Oh.
at the podium, you asked, when I asked about input from the consent agenda, I seem to remember, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you asked about the entire.
Oh, well, that was a terrible misunderstanding, but there was also no discussion amongst the
And
councilmen. for
The
the
council
consent.
didn't have any discussion. The consent
And you
agenda,
didn't vote,
We did.
just
First
globally to,
and second.
I put a lot of time into handwriting this because I sent it in hours ago.
You still got a copy.
We have it right here.
And did you happen to read it? Really? Did all the council people read it?
Right here.
Mr.
Well, there's two things. Yeah.
Did Mr. West have a chance to read it? Mr. Tuttle did not have a chance to read it.
I think it came in late this afternoon.
Mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
As you know, you've been having a lot of trouble with the website, and I didn't have access to the agenda until this afternoon. So I would like, for the benefit of the public, if you allow me a couple of minutes to weigh in.
Please share your thoughts.
Thank you. Task order number 3. There is no compelling reason for a high-tech upgrade to make it more convenient to access flow data at a price tag of $10,000 to $20,000, especially considering task order number 4. Task order number 4. PWA requests $11,800 to $13,800 for obtaining an LSAA, which stands for a Lake and Stream Bed Alteration Agreement, from CDFW, which stands for the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. The permit fees are almost $6,000 for CDFW and unknown filing fees with CEQA. The total cost approaches approximately $20,000. PWA comments that further work costs may be incurred. I want everyone to think about what I'm going to say next, this next sentence. PWA states that the city has been, and I quote, out of compliance with LSAA permit approval of Luffenholz use since the water plant has been in operation. Now that is an amazing, I guess it's a fact. It's in your documentation of what PWA is requesting. Okay. It's a good idea to abide by the law. It's a better idea to know the parameters of Luffenholz's use according to state law. Years ago, before perseverating in investing tens of thousands of dollars of city water funds and millions of dollars of state and federal grants in using the creek. It's too late to do that now. Better late than never. Although it may open a can of worms if the council decides to throw another $20,000 down the Luffenholz sinkhole, which I'm going to assume you passed this, you consented on this. Okay. I'm not happy with PWA as explained in numerous public opinion comments in the past, which council members never responded to. It's been a one-way street. Citizens make comments ignored by councilors. Councilors chit-chat amongst themselves and vote. And my suggestion is, if you pursue Luffenholz permits, which apparently you're in the process of doing, vet someone other than PWA to do the job. Thank you.
All right, we have received those comments. Are there other agenda items for the future that we wish to?
Right.
So bring it back to the planning commission is what you're asking? Yeah,
Right.
I mean, the planning commission.
Hey, this is right.
Other future agenda.
I'd like to bring up the power pole idea on Underwood.
This is the underground.
Yeah.
And if I could ask you, widen your gaze to the city,
Right.
right? Because
It's the street next to
there's more streets in town.
View Street as well. Right.
Yeah, we can get a summary of Mr. Higgins.
Just a request regarding the undergrounding of power poles. I'd suggest a holistic approach to the entire city and not just one street. There's a few pieces of fruit left to pick off that tree, so to speak.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry you didn't hear that, Aaron. I mentioned the View Avenue is another source of need for underground.
And I believe Wagner as well has some, and possibly some of Parker Creek.
Yep, absolutely. Citywide. Okay, other agenda items? All right, as always, we have public comment. What's that?
So Gabe covered it a little bit, and we will apparently have a folder at the front office desk for Measure P, which includes the resolution, history, pro, against, rebuttal, against, which I think is important. And I asked Gabe to do that on the city website too. So we have a link on the main page. This is one of the first measures we've done, I think, since I've been here. What I'd like to see is maybe as we get a little bit closer, not in September, but October, we have an agenda item that maybe discusses this a little bit more and allows us to get comments from the public and maybe ask the council some questions. So I would say not for September, but for October, to put on the agenda item to discuss Measure P, where it came from, why, and where we all have to go.
And can you just, I know there are rules around council of the measure. I want to make sure that, I don't think we're able to do anything. I don't.
Well,
in terms of like-
short of maybe reading what you guys submitted, I think that's fine. I don't want to skirt the law, of course.
You're looking for more of a discussion. I guess, again, I'm not an expert in this kind of stuff.
Well, that's what we got the lawyer for. Yeah. Well, I would suggest Eli can look with the lawyer and figure out if there is anything. Obviously, we don't want to get anybody, step on anybody's toes. I think it'd be nice to hear from the public as we get closer to the voting time and to restate the city's position and the proponents against position.
And it might get more people to come to our meeting.
Yeah, it might excite some people to go vote. Thank you.
Other ideas for the future? Seeing none, thank you for your input, thank you for your participation this evening. With that, I adjourn tonight's meeting.
Recording stopped.